Welcome to the Mr. Critique channel, where we give you some straight up critiques on the latest in movies, gaming, and TV shows. Let's jump right in. Don't forget to hit that like, subscribe, and share button. So go ahead and comment. Tell me what you think. Are you excited about this movie? What we have here is Scream 6. Scream 6. You've seen one, you've seen them all. Scream 6 doesn't change anything from the narrative that it's based upon. You have a guy in a Ghostface killer mask and some harmless victims. Scream 6 does nothing from the traditional formula except move it from your suburban white neighborhood to the middle of Manhattan, which is a nice change in my opinion, but unfortunately, it wasn't enough to bring me back to the original days of watching the original Scream movie. In Scream 6, Sydney's gone. She decided to not return back to the film. And you know why? Why would you show up every time someone's there to kill you? It's like, yeah, you're safe where you are, so why travel back to a town or an area where someone's gonna gut you? You know, it's really hard for me not to say anything nice about this movie. You know, to be completely honest, it hit the nail on the head from everything that I expected. I expected somebody to get stabbed. I expect them to unmask someone and not know that it was them. And I expected to watch people make a lot of dumb decisions. Personally speaking, if I just survived a murderous rampage within my friend group, I would have learned how to defend myself. But no, in this movie, the protagonist still runs around screaming, thinking they're tough. I got this. I'm on my own. We have each other's back. And guess what? All they do is scream and fumble. When I mean by fumble, I mean fumble. It's embarrassing to just watch. And unfortunately, that's what we call entertainment these days. Entertaining part about the film is the way he kills them. Yep, it's the stabbings. If you've seen the trailer, you've seen the gunshot to the face. Like, yes, that's what you're gonna go see. You're watching dumb people die in very good ways. Fortunately, without spoiling the movie did have a very interesting opening that was like no other. I don't want to spoil it, but that was one of the best parts of the film was the opening scene. When you're watching the movie, you're just interested to see which legacy character is gonna die. And in this movie, there are a lot of legacy characters from the original trilogy, from the new trilogy, from the one from before. People you thought had died, but I guess they didn't. And then you just sit around and wait. Which one of these characters are gonna die, and how are they gonna die, and who's the killer? And guess what? And within the first 20 minutes of the movie, you can actually figure out who it is if you're paying attention. Most people aren't, so they won't figure out who it is because that dialogue is missing. I am very unsure how this movie got a 90% on Rotten Tomatoes. In my honest opinion, there's only two good characters in the movie. And guess what? One of them, only because he had the right fight or flight sensation. In certain scenes, he ran, he was first out the door. In some scenes, he was fighting. I mean, literally fighting to survive. While others were screaming and just fumbling, as I said before, literally fumbling. This is the only person that was literally going toe to toe like he was Mayweather. And then in a movie where they blatantly keep saying not to trust anybody, guess what they do? They make the same mistake. Oh, they trust everybody. They trust this new guy. They trust the old guy. They trust the person. They trust the one they love. They just keep trusting people. And they even say in the beginning of the movie, you don't trust anybody. But guess what? They trust someone. They follow along and they get trapped. And then they should already know that there's always multiple killers. But they pretend like there's only one. You know, the original two characters that I like the most identify that there's most likely multiple killers. But when they're within their fighting mode and when they're chasing and when they're getting chased or when they're setting traps or when they're trying to investigate, they always speak in the terms as if there's only one killer, and they are in a history of knowing that there are multiple killers. As if no one ever comes prepared to these fights. And in some situations, like Gail Weathers, who comes to the fight, doesn't actually get prepared until it comes back to her. Like she goes to the fight, and then a fight comes to her, and then she's not as prepared as she's supposed to be. And then people come to help her, and those people are dumb as well because who gets into a shootout and then call out the victims or the person's name before you shoot them rather than just shooting them? Like They completely often have the killers dead to right to actually kill the person. And guess what they do? They got to throw in the one liner. They got to give a shout. They got to give a, hey, look at me. And then something happens and boom, they miss. And boom, they messed up. Boom, they fumbled. Okay, and let's get to the end of the movie when they get to the unmasking. I mentioned there was a character that were literally throwing haymakers. They were going toe to toe. They were boxing with the ghost face. What I mean by boxing, I mean he was given the right hook, laying him down, come up, kick him in the face. You know, the mask never comes off, ironically. These things is glued to their head. But the thing is, when they finally do the unmasking and they reveal who they are, it's not a scratch on them. Like, no one gets hit this hard, gets knocked out, gets kicked in the face multiple times, and not a scratch on them. I don't know who did the editing, but someone should have said, like, hey, if you got to a fist fight and you're the only one getting hit, you shouldn't walk out of here without a bruise, without a single bruise. But whatever. This is the part where it gets super annoying. Like, good acting, bad direction. And ironically, you know, you watch these stories for, like I said, the killing and the mystery. You're going to get the killing. You're going to get the mystery. It's going to look good on screen. But guess what? It's the same movie. It's Scream 6. No surprises except who is the killer. So if you're going in to watch some type of compelling story and get interested and get sucked in, don't. The only thing that's going to surprise you is the very beginning of the movie when he did a special opening. And then what I have to say is I like the voice of Ghostface. It's very nice.
So let's finish this.
But yes, that's my take on it. I give this movie a thumbs down. This movie is a good 5 out of 10, which means it's trash. Another reason I got a 5 out of 10 is because it looked good, the killings were good, and the mystery was good. But other than that, the story was stale, it was stupid, and it always just fell into place. There's a lot of questionable actions that took place.